3, 2, 1. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Couch Coaching. I'm Vince. That's Jimmy over there. And we're covering the second quarter of the NFL season for the Houston Texans in 2013. The Texans finished this first quarter 2-2.
Yeah.
Finished 2-2, and I predicted they'd be 3-1. I can't remember what Jimmy. I think you said 3-1 also. You said.
I did say 3-1.
Yeah, and look, the first quarter 2-2 is still okay, but I'm really trying to understand what are they going to do going forward, because you know they escaped with a win against the San Diego Chargers, and then also escaped with a win against the Tennessee Titans in overtime the second week.
Well, see, and that's the thing, is that when you're looking at the wins that they have, you know, when they played the San Diego Chargers, that was not even a game until the fourth quarter, really.
Right.
I mean, San Diego was just putting it to them. The only reason why San Diego lost that game was that they started getting into a prevent mode from getting them the big plays, so they were doing that soft zone,
right,
10 yards back. But with Texas, they were still going with their game plan. We're going to run, and then we're going to run. So when they were running, giving them that 5-6 yard cushion that you're already giving them off the wide receivers,
right,
they able them to get up there close. And then when it got too late in the game in the fourth quarter, well, now we have to start playing aggressive. Well, you had your whole defense out there playing conservative the whole time.
right.
So now they had no choice but to play aggressive, and you can't switch that mindset when you're up by 20 points, and then you're only up by a touchdown after that.
Exactly. What ended up happening, I think, is that the defense found a way to rattle Phillip Rivers a little bit, and he made some costly errors
right
at the end of the game, which ended up giving the Texans, that victory. And Matt Schaub started a trend for the first quarter. He threw his first pick six. So he started a trend for the first quarter of the NFL season. And then they go down. I mean, like we said, they won the first two games against the Titans and the San Diego Chargers. Then they just got, shellacked by the current reigning NFL champion Baltimore Ravens, 30-9. And I don't know if it's because Ray Ray was in the building. I'm not sure, but I'm talking about Ray Lewis. But man, they got destroyed. And again, Matt Schaub threw a pick six.
Yeah, well, I think that whole deal, though, with Baltimore was that we all saw that Thursday night game with Baltimore and Denver. All right. So that whole deal was, that left a bad taste in their mouth. Everybody assumed that Baltimore was done. Everybody assumed that the defense was done. It's going to be a dismal year for the Baltimore Ravens coming off that Super Bowl win. So everybody had just been talking down about the defense. So what did the defense do? The defense showed up.
Right.
You didn't hear a whole lot about the offense on the Baltimore side. It was about the defense, the pick six, the interception, the fumble. It was all what Baltimore's D was doing, because Baltimore's D had been talked down all beginning of the season after that loss to Denver. They were talked down. They were, everybody was saying everything you could possibly say about them.
Right.
And Baltimore was like, you know what? Enough is enough. And they came out there against a team who had won 2 and were being the favorite in that game to win.
At home.
And Baltimore wanted to just shut it down.
Right.
Baltimore did, and I give Baltimore props for that, because they came in there in a hostile environment on the road and got a necessary win that they needed to keep themselves relevant in the division.
Yeah, Baltimore was at home, and the thing about it is that they started the season out very poorly. Like you said, they started out and Denver just destroyed them, and I honestly feel like Denver, and we already felt this way at the beginning of the season, that they're going to be the team to beat in the AFC, if not for the Super Bowl period.
Well,
if they stay healthy.
I still believe that the Super Bowl road is going through Denver.
Right.
I think it's going to be the AFC Championship game is going to be in Denver.
Right.
And whoever wins that game is going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think that's the only way that's going to play out. I don't see the road going anywhere.
Exactly.
I just don't, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I like you said. I think what happened is I'm not gonna say that the Baltimore Ravens were panicking, but after that debauchery, that the way they got destroyed that Thursday night in the opening game, and then they barely beat Cleveland, which Cleveland has turned out to be a pretty good team. so far.
Yeah.
And then the Texans come in there and they were like, we got to stand up. We got to get up for this game. The home game for them. So they showed out. And then here and then last week with the Texans, and this is the only thing I'm gonna say that they can take away from this game. I predicted they would lose this game as well as you did. And look, the only thing that I feel like the Texans could take away from this game was, they lost the game. It's not like Seattle did anything to beat them. I mean, even though Richard Sherman did have to pick the ball off and run it back for a touchdown.
Yeah, but
to force it in overtime.
Texans did that for themselves. And my biggest thing that I have with the Texans as of right now is you've got Foster and you've got Tate in your backfield.
Right.
When you have that combination, one is that one cut, I'm going to go, I'm going to go where the hole's supposed to be, and the other one, I'm going to make a hole.
Right.
And with Ben Tate, with that option that he gives you, I'm a physical running back.
Right.
I'm going to run you, I'm going to hit you, I'm going to make a hole for myself. When you get those two guys and co-align to where one's getting 12 touches, the other one's getting 12 touches, or 15, 10, you want to kind of make it to where both of them get the same. When you're playing a defense that's primary aggressive like that, because when you start bringing those linebackers up who are going against a bruiser back, you allow them to take the hits. You allow that bruiser back to go to them linebackers and hit them, because then you soften it up to where when that one cutback can come in and do that one move that needs, and he can break 40 off.
Right.
And I think that's what hurt them the most, is that whenever they started getting, because they were up 20-6 before half.
Right.
So you were up, and I think that also led them to take the gas pedal off a little, take their foot off the gas a little bit, and then allow the Seahawks to just come in and play their kind of game at the half. And I think with Schaub throwing another pick six, that didn't help at all either. So
yeah, people here in Houston, they want to just destroy Matt Schaub. He even had some burning their $100-something jerseys. Cuckoo. Burning their jerseys.
You know what? Those people remind me of the same ones that burnt their jerseys when LeBron James left Cleveland to go to Miami. And now I bet they're sitting there wishing, why did I burn them? Because a lot of them were autographed. This dude's already went to 2 championships, 3 appearances, 1, 2, MVP. And it's like, I bet you really feel dumb now.
Right. Which, well, Schaub will never be an MVP. So
we're not going to go that far. We're just going to go ahead and say it reminds me of that. Because,
right.
Look, as a Texas, person who lives here, not a Texans fan,
right,
any means. I mean, I'm a football advocate. But you really don't have anybody on the roster that you could put a whole lot of trust in except for TJ Yates. And we all saw what happened with TJ Yates when he was playing Baltimore in a divisional round of playoffs. Right. When he gets into a bind, he's looking at one receiver and one receiver only.
Right.
Andre Johnson. That's all he did in that game. He got picked off 3 times, I believe.
Right.
So if your run game isn't there, he's not going to be able to progress by looking at your tight end, wide receiver. He's going to look at his first route, and that's it. He's going to act just like Alex Smith does, which it works for Alex Smith, but Alex Smith also has a lot more going for him than what TJ Yates does.
And the thing about it is, and the people, I'm going to say this. He's not, he has a part of the blame. I'm talking about Matt Schaub for that pick six that he threw in that game. He has a part of the blame, but you and I both agree that the blame should be solely be laid on Gary Kubiak calling that play at that junction in the game. The defense had played well the entire game. Now, Russell Wilson had a luck play to where he did like some kind of 360 in the pocket and then ran out and got a first down. Then he also converted a first down on a 4th and 6 play. Those kind of things happen. Okay, you just can't prevent everything. But the defense had played well the entire day.
Right.
So run the ball. If Aaron Foster doesn't get the first down, punt it.
Right.
You got Shane Leckler, one of the best punters in the league. Punt the ball, and then let's see if they can make a play. Worst case scenario, going to overtime anyway.
Right.
Don't run that naked bootleg play that everybody's on to now, Gary Kubiak.
Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't it the same play he's been picked off twice already?
Everybody knows that play, Gary Kubiak.
So, I mean, if you're going to run that play that many times where every play it's done and he gets a pick six on it and on the same play, maybe it's time to stop running that play. I'm just saying,
or at least don't run it as much.
Yeah, that too.
Jeez, I swear I see that play like 4 or 5 times in a game. 4 to 5 times in a game.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, who are we? We're just,
Yeah, we're just on the couch.
That's it. That's it. All right.
All right. So we're gonna break down the second quarter of the season, and the first opponent that the Texans have are the San Francisco 49ers.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and say this as in the league stat wise for going into the second quarter. Texans are ranked 5th in total yards per game with 410. They're ranked 9th, 276 in the passing yards per game. Rushing yards, 134. They're ranked 7th. Points per game, they're only ranked 19 with 22. Third down efficiency, and this is the big killer, 36% of the third down.
You can't have that.
So your defense is being left on the field as well.
Right.
So yards allowed, again, 254. They are ranked first in yards allowed on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even with them not converting enough third downs, they're still doing fairly well on the defensive side.
Right.
So having said that, like you said, their first opponent is San Francisco. And if I'm not mistaken, they are playing at San Francisco.
Right.
So they're going to be going to Candlestick.
Sunday night, prime time.
And your predictions?
Man, after such a tough loss, this is what I think is going to happen. I think San Francisco got the wheels back on the cart, and because they were trying to run, they were trying to pass the ball too much.
Yeah.
When they're a run first team.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get the Texans are gonna get a heavy dose of Frank Gore, and it's gonna depend on how they handle getting smashed in the mouth.
It's not gonna be Frank Gore.
Oh, you think it's gonna be James?
Nope. It's gonna be Kaepernick.
Really?
I'll tell you why. Like you said, they were passing the ball too much.
Right.
Kaepernick was at his best
in the readout
when you had to sit there and focus on what he was going to do.
Right.
We saw that come to life last week when they won.
Right.
Well, I think it was last week. Or was it the week before last? I can't remember.
San Francisco, they destroyed St. Louis.
Right. But Kaepernick went off and he took the ball the way he needed to take the ball.
Right.
Threw the ball, ran the ball. The problem the Texans had against Russell Wilson was in the third quarter, Russell Wilson decided, hey, they've got everything sewed up downfield. I'm going to go ahead and go.
Right, I'm going to escape.
When he did that on that 4th and 6, that opened up a whole new playing field.
Exactly.
That opened up the whole fact that now I have to leave a linebacker in QB spy just to follow what he's going to do. So that's taking one guy out of the equation altogether.
Right.
I think it's going to be Kaepernick. Frank Gore is going to get his touches regardless. So Frank Gore is going to be Frank Gore. And that passing game is going to be there with Vernon Davis and all them. It's going to be Kaepernick. I think Kaepernick is going to be the key player in that game that's going to allow the San Francisco to win that game.
I personally, I think, Houston's got a really bad taste in their mouth right now. And I think that the Texans are going to, they usually show up on primetime games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Texans will win that game. So you're picking San Francisco?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the Texans in that particular game. And then they go and play St. Louis. St. Louis is coming to Houston. St. Louis Rams. And I think the Texans are going to win that game.
We don't even spend all our time on this one. San Francisco, I like Jeff Fisher. I think Jeff Fisher has a lot to deal with at this moment in time. Because obviously Sam Bradford is not the quarterback that everybody, a previous regime, thought he was.
Right.
I think Jeff Fisher has a lot to deal with because of the fact that now he's going to go out and look for a quarterback. And he's going to have to get a couple of good, decent wide receivers that can catch as well.
Right.
I think St. Louis will lose this game. I think the Texans will actually pull it out.
Yeah, so I think we both agree on that one. We're not going to spend it. I'm not going to say anything else about it either because I just don't think. Again, I think St. Louis they have the want to with Jeff Fisher as their coach, but they just don't have. They don't have the how to.
When your defense is out there on the field that many plays for that long because your offense can't get a first down.
Right.
Then you're going to have a problem because your defense is going to get tired. Just like everybody knows, defense gets tired. Then the other opposing offense can just do whatever they want, especially when it's a 15-play drive, 12-play drive, or what have you. Because as soon as you get off that field, the first chance they get, they're going to go 3 and out. Then you're going right back on the field for another 12 to 10 play drive.
That is taxing on the defensive players. So we both agree that the Texans will win that game. And then they'll be playing the next opponent is the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. For me, this is a surprise. This is one of the surprises of the first quarter of the NFL season. Because at this point of the first quarter of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs are 4-0. 4-0. Right there with Denver. I thought Denver was just going to run away with the whole division.
Yeah, everybody else in that division can just go and hang it up. It's going to be either Denver or KC. One of them are going to make a slip up for the other opponent to go ahead and go up on there.
Right.
So I'm liking what Andy Reid is doing with Kansas City. You know, everybody really thought Andy Reid should have took the year off after he left Philadelphia. That Andy Reid should have just stayed at home because of everything that had happened during the season with Philadelphia. Him losing his son and everything else. Yeah. Everybody just thought that it was best for him just to kind of disappear for the year. But he went ahead and said, you know what? That's not going to happen. That's not me. He went off and took the job at KC.
Right.
KC is 4-0.
Right.
In a division that Peyton Manning is in.
Right.
Wow.
Right, exactly.
That's one of the storylines of this season so far is that KC coming from basically nothing last year.
Right.
All the way to 4-0, and really no different counterparts are there. They have basically the same core
people
players, on defense and offense. I mean, a couple people change here and there because of draft picks and all that, but you have the exact same people pretty much.
Right.
4-0 now.
Right.
I'm actually liking what I'm seeing from Kansas City. I'm thinking Andy Reid will end up winning that game with going against the Texans. I think that Andy Reid being a different coach than what the Texans have seen. I think with Charles and with those guys on offense.
Yeah, Dwayne Bowe. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I think in all actuality, I think Kansas City will actually win that game.
I'm going to have to lean again back towards the Texans. And only reason I'm really leaning that way is because this will be 2 more weeks into the second quarter of the season, and I just don't know I don't know Kansas City's schedule right off the top of my head. But I will say this: the Texans they got some issues that they need to get fixed going forward. They got to get this stuff fixed going forward now. And I don't know, and I feel like Houston will go in there and they'll win this game based on 2 things. Number one, I think the Texans are going to learn how to take care of the ball. I feel like by this.
When you say Texans, you really mean Schaub.
No, what I really mean is Kubiak.
Yeah.
Because Gary is putting Schaub in a lot of these situations. A lot of again, and I'm gonna say this: I'm not a Matt Schaub supporter. I'm a Matt Schaub understander. If you really look at the games and understand the situations that Matt Schaub has put in, a lot of these throws that he makes, he's under duress.
Right.
And the reason he's under duress is because of the plays that are being called. Not necessarily because the blocking is bad. It's because of the plays that are being called. So he takes a lot of hits.
Right. No, I agree. And I'm not going to say that's not the case at all.
Right. So
I think a lot of it though is look, when you're a quarterback, you've got to know when you need to call something else.
Right. Or better yet, you got to know that I can't make that pass. I think so. That's what I'm saying. I put the Seattle game squarely on 2 people's shoulders. Matt Schaub, you can't throw that pass. Gary Kubiak, you can't call that play.
Right. And if I'm Schaub and I know that play's coming, I'm just going to go ahead and audible to something else.
Yeah. Now I don't know. Now here's the funny part. I don't even know if he has that ability to audible.
Well, you know what? If he doesn't, there's going to be another jersey burned in the parking lot somewhere else. I have news for you. He's already closed down his Twitter and everything else. I don't think he wants to throw another pick 6. So if I was him, that play's coming in the huddle, I'm calling something else.
Right, exactly.
I'll deal with the consequences later, but
I'm not going to call that play.
I'm not going to call that play at that particular moment in time. No more.
So you feel like Kansas City's going to win at home?
Yeah.
I think Houston will win that game. And then here comes a divisional game against the Indianapolis Colts at Houston. I'm gonna tell you something. Now last year, I don't know if it was last year or year before last, we had a discussion about the Texans and their reign at the top of the AFC South. And so, we've been doing this, 3 years now?
Something like that. 2 years fully, this will be our second year fully, and then we did the Super Bowl.
Right, so, with the exiting of Peyton Manning, we felt like, the Texans had maybe 3 good years. They would be at the top of the AFC. Man, Indianapolis is getting so much better. And their skill position players are awesome.
It's not even that. They're not just getting better. they are still young.
Right.
These guys were rookies when they came in here and went to the playoffs with Luck being their quarterback for the first year. These guys are going to be there for at least another 3 years with this guy under contract.
Right.
These guys are in their second year now. They're learning his calls. They're learning who this guy is. They're learning how he's throwing the ball, and they've adjusted to it. These guys that are this young core wide receivers that are coming up with him that were all rookies too. And I got news for Texas. They're going to be in a world of hurt next season.
And then Trent, then they got Trent there. Pep Hamilton used to be on the coaching staff, I believe, with Jim Harbaugh in Stanford. I know Pep Hamilton is actually the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts now. And look, Indianapolis is getting really good.
Yeah.
But I still think they're gonna lose this game.
I think they'll lose this first round. I think they'll lose this first round, but next round I think it'll be something different. But I think they will actually lose this one. I think the Texans normally the Texans always plays them really good, football against Indianapolis the very first time they meet.
Right.
And I think that kind of sets the tone of, okay, what do they like to do? What do we like to do?
Right.
That kind of deal to where then both offensive and defensive coordinators can get together and say, okay, they did this a lot.
Right.
Let's kind of change it up just a little bit. And I think that's when the whole, they end up splitting those games. But I think you're right. I think Texas will win this first game. So I have them going 2-2.
Right.
And you have them going 3-1. So
did I say 3-1? Or did I say 4-0? Because I think I have them beating San Francisco.
Yeah,
also.
you did. You have them going 4-0.
So I actually got them going 4-0. I'm kind of.
What are we thinking going in big?
Yeah, right. No, but I'm still gonna. I'm
thinking a pick six is somewhere.
Right. So pick six is gonna change the whole scheme of this thing. But I think they'll be 4-0 in this particular quarter. And then so you say 2-2, I say 4-0. And look, the Texans got a lot of work to be done. And fortunately for them, I'm gonna tell you. Personally, I feel like how Jimmy was talking about earlier, how they got Ben Tate and Arian Foster, sharing the backfield. Me personally, I think that's part of the problem. I think they're sharing a little bit too much. I think it needs to be more 60-40, maybe 70-30.
Well, I got news for them. They better do something because Ben Tate ain't gonna be there next year.
I know.
Ben Tate ain't gonna be there next year.
So stop acting like he is. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making.
So I mean, if you're not gonna use him to get to where you want to get to, because I got news for them. If they're trying to get to the Super Bowl this year, then they better do something dramatically different, because I just don't see it happening.
Right.
I mean, because here's the deal: you're gonna have a lot of people coming up under contract next season, and you just ain't gonna have the money.
Right.
Especially if you want to keep some of the other guys that you've already signed.
Right.
So it's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
So you're gonna lose somebody, and I have a feeling they're gonna lose Ben Tate.
Well, they're gonna lose Ben Tate, and so
Ben Tate ain't gonna be a second hand to nobody.
If they're smart, what they'll do is they'll trade him before the trade deadline. The trade deadline will be happening, I think, after this the Week 8 game. So the trade deadline will be somewhere off in here.
I think it's before Week 8.
Yeah, before Week 8. So hope if the Texans are smart, Ben Tate won't be on their roster by the end of that, by the time the end of that
game.
Yeah,
because either way, it's best to get something for him. Because at the end of this year, he's not going to be there anyways.
He's going.
So might as well. Well, he's not going to be there because he doesn't want to play second fiddle to nobody, and I don't blame him.
Right.
Right now, he's running better than Foster is, but he's not getting the extra touches.
Right.
And that's the killing part. You got this man getting less touches, and he's putting up more numbers.
Exactly.
So when I'm looking at it, it's two things are going to happen. Either you trade him and get something for him, or you let him go at the end of the season, because both ways, he's not going to be on your roster next year. There's no amount of money that you're going to be able to pay this guy to be a backup.
Right.
There's just not. I mean, so he's gonna you might as well get something for him now before the end of the season, because you're not going to get nothing for him at the end of the season.
Exactly. I agree completely. Okay, everybody. Thanks again for watching us here on Couch Coaching. If you like anything, you have any comments, please leave them at the bottom of the page. Or if you got a team that you like us to cover, bottom of the page, let us know. And if you have and if you like what you heard, please hit us up on Facebook at Couch Coaching 12.
Yeah.
And again, thanks for watching. Almost jumped right up. After I said it's not what I was gonna do.